The Los Angeles Lakers are in a position where smart maneuvering could make all the difference between another year of frustration and a legitimate run at contention. And right now, there's a golden opportunity sitting in Brooklyn that they'd be crazy not to explore. The Brooklyn Nets are essentially waving the flag, saying to the rest of the league, we're open for business, and the Lakers, with the right pieces, the right timing, and a bit of vision, could absolutely take advantage of it. The Nets have positioned themselves as a kind of clearinghouse, a hub for taking on contracts, moving around salaries, and helping other teams get deals done. They're not trying to win right now. They're not pushing for a playoff run or banking everything on a superstar trade this summer. What they're doing is collecting assets, young players, and flexibility. That makes them the perfect third team in complex deals, especially for a team like the Lakers who are looking to shuffle the deck without completely blowing things up. Let's say the Lakers want to swing for the fences and bring in someone like Andrew Wiggins. That's not a straight-up trade. It's going to take moving off of contracts like Gabe Vincent, maybe Maxi Kleber if he's involved, and getting creative with the cap. Brooklyn is that missing piece, the facilitator that can absorb a salary or two, maybe even send out a young prospect, and keep things moving. They're not demanding massive draft compensation either. This isn't a team holding up deals over a first-rounder. They just took on Kobe Buffkin for cash considerations, which shows they're open to flexible negotiations depending on the player and the upside. The Nets' whole strategy right now is to take on as many players and contracts as possible, assess the talent, stack up the assets, and then figure out who sticks. They've got more players than they'll be able to keep once the season starts. That means buyouts are coming. That means players who may not have a future in Brooklyn could be on the market for nothing. And that means the Lakers could sneak in, pick up some of that young talent, and use it to build a deeper, more versatile roster. But here's the thing. This doesn't just need to be about salary dumps. In fact, the smart move is to blend the salary clearing with actual roster upgrades. Pulling in a Wiggins while also getting, say, Darren Sharp or Zaire Williams in the process would give the Lakers real value on both ends. It's not just about clearing space. It's about making calculated moves that raise the team's ceiling while still keeping the books balanced. Brooklyn has the leverage of being in a no-pressure situation. They're not gunning for the finals. They're building a war chest. And for a team like the Lakers, that war chest could be the key to unlocking the roster potential they've been searching for. The Lakers have done deals with the Nets before. Rob Pelinka and Sean Marks have a good working relationship. That matters, because when you're trying to put together a multi-team deal, trust and familiarity go a long way. It's the kind of rapport that can turn a good trade into a great one. And it's not just Brooklyn, either. The mention of Danny Ainge in Utah is important here. The Lakers have done a handful of trades with Ainge despite all the rumors over the years that he wouldn't deal with LA because of LeBron or past rivalries. Clearly, those narratives were overblown. But even with Ainge as an option, Brooklyn right now offers something different, something uniquely valuable. They're hungry to acquire young assets. They're flush with role players and developmental projects, and they're willing to be the middleman without demanding a king's ransom. Let's think about some of the names on that Nets roster. They've got players like Haywood Highsmith, who could be a sneaky good fit on the wing for the Lakers. A guy who won't cost a fortune and fits the mold of a 3-and-D contributor that every contender needs. Claxton is an intriguing name, too. Sure, his salary is a bit steep for a backup big, but the structure of his deal actually becomes more affordable over time, and he brings legit insurance in case someone like Anthony Davis misses time or leaves in the future. And if Claxton ends up on an expiring contract in a couple of years, that's a valuable trade chip the Lakers could use to chase a star, whether it's Giannis, Jokic, or someone else who becomes available. The bigger picture here is all about flexibility and long-term planning. If the Lakers can use the Nets as a conduit to not only bring in a piece like Wiggins, but also reload with youth, guys who can grow within the system, contribute in spot minutes, and eventually step into bigger roles, that's a massive win. The new CBA makes it harder than ever to carry expensive rosters top to bottom. Developing players internally is going to be key. The Lakers have talked a big game about becoming a premier development organization, and this is the moment to start putting that into action. You want to be that team that cycles through talent, keeps the bench deep, and doesn't fall apart the second a starter goes down. You got to have a pipeline. That means investing in young players, even if they're not ready today. It means bringing in guys on two-way deals, letting them earn a spot, and turning them into rotation players. It means using the G League for more than just rehab assignments. Brooklyn, right now, is full of players who fit that mold. The Lakers could grab a couple of them in a multi-team trade, stash them for a season or two, and potentially uncover a gem. And it's not just about trading for them either. The Nets are going to have to make tough decisions once camp hits. They can't keep everyone. So, if the Lakers are watching closely, there could be young guys hitting waivers or becoming available via buyout that you can pick up without giving up assets. Again, it all comes down to vision and timing. Are you the team that jumps early and locks in a piece before everyone else realizes the value? Or are you the one watching from the sidelines as someone else makes the move you should have made? This is the time for Pelinka and the front office to show that they're thinking a few moves ahead, that they're not just looking for the next big name, but also trying to build a roster that can withstand the grind of a full season and still have something left for a deep playoff run. There's no shortcut to that. It's about smart deals, strategic depth, and a willingness to take a chance on upside. Andrew Wiggins could be part of that answer, but he can't be the only answer. If you're trading 3 players for one, you've got to replace those roster spots. That's where the Nets come in again. They got surplus. The Lakers need bodies. That's a natural fit, whether it's Darren Sharp, Zaire Williams, Highsmith, or someone else. The key is finding guys who fill a role now, but have potential to grow into more. Brooklyn's approach is exactly what a team in their situation should be doing, stockpiling assets, giving themselves every option, and keeping the books open for flexibility. The Lakers, on the other hand, are trying to win while also looking at the future. If those paths intersect, you have the perfect storm for a multi-layered, high-upside trade. And let's not ignore the structure of these deals. It's not just a matter of moving salaries. It's about building something sustainable. For any trade to make sense, the Lakers need to be thinking about more than just fit. They need to think about value. A guy like Wiggins gives you defense, experience, and length on the wing. That's crucial. But if you can also get a couple of rotation-level young guys in the deal, now you're talking about a real upgrade. If you're going to swing for someone making north of $18 million, you're almost certainly doing a 2-for-1 deal or more. That means you're clearing out multiple players, and then you've got to fill those spots somehow. Brooklyn helps you do that. Maybe you lose a veteran or two. Fine. If you're bringing in younger legs with upside, that's a trade-off worth making, especially if it puts you in position to both compete now and stay flexible moving forward. And look, this isn't about pushing all the chips in this offseason. It's about setting the table, giving yourself options mid-season, creating a roster that can survive injuries, adapt to matchups, and keep growing. The Lakers can't afford to be stuck with a rigid core and no flexibility. That's a recipe for early exits. This is where Brooklyn becomes more than just a facilitator. They become a resource, a place you can pull from when you need a young wing, a backup center, or a developmental project. If the Lakers play this right, they could walk away from a 3-team trade, not just with a big-name acquisition, but also with 2 or 3 young pieces that strengthen the rotation and help build a foundation for the next era. Another angle to all of this that can't be overlooked is the way the Lakers need to approach roster construction beyond the top-line acquisitions. The focus always seems to fall on the stars, the high-profile moves, the blockbuster trades, but where championship runs are really built is in the depth, in the bench, in those under-the-radar deals that turn into key contributors when it matters most. That's why if Los Angeles is going to use Brooklyn as a trade partner or as a third team to facilitate a bigger deal, they need to look beyond just the contracts being moved and start zeroing in on the actual players being shuffled around. Because buried in all that salary could be a player or two who ends up being way more valuable than expected. Take someone like Zaire Williams. He's still young, raw in certain areas, but there's a mold there that fits perfectly in the modern NBA. He's got size, athleticism, and a frame that can grow into a solid 2-way wing if placed in the right developmental structure. Now imagine putting a guy like that in the Lakers system, playing alongside veterans like LeBron James and Anthony Davis, learning from seasoned coaches, and getting minutes in a rotation that actually has purpose. That's where you start creating long-term value. That's how you build sustainability while also aiming for contention. Or look at Darren Sharp. Not a flashy name, not someone who's going to move the needle in the media, but he rebounds, he hustles, and he gives you size and toughness in the paint. In a league that's increasingly perimeter-oriented, you still need a guy who can battle down low, grab second-chance points, and defend at a high level without being a liability on switches. That's a guy who, in the right situation, could absolutely contribute to winning basketball. And if you can bring him in as a throw-in piece in a larger deal, that's a move worth making all day. These are the kinds of players the Lakers need to start targeting. Not just the names that sell jerseys, but the guys who round out the team. The ones who fill gaps, plug holes, and give you options when injuries strike or when the playoff grind begins. And it's not just about what they do on the court. It's about contract value, too. If you can add young, cost-controlled players to your roster while unloading higher salaries, you're giving yourself much-needed flexibility for the future, something that's going to become even more critical under the league's new collective bargaining agreement. This is why Brooklyn's situation is so intriguing. They've got too many players. They're not going to be able to keep everyone, and that creates opportunity. The Lakers should be watching that roster closely. Who's being squeezed out? Who's not going to make the final cut? Can you jump in early, offer a second-round pick or a pick swap, and steal a player before he hits the waiver wire? This is where smart front offices make their money, not just in the big headlines, but in the margins where championships are really won. And it's not like this kind of strategy is foreign to Los Angeles. They've had success before finding value in unlikely places. Austin Reeves wasn't a lottery pick. Rui Hachimura was written off by most when he arrived. Yet, both have become integral to what the Lakers are building. That's not a coincidence. That's what happens when you commit to development and surround young players with the right infrastructure. Now it's about doubling down on that approach, especially with so many potential contributors floating around the league as teams like Brooklyn start clearing house. Even someone like Haywood Highsmith deserves a closer look. He's not a star, but he knows his role. He defends, hits shots, and doesn't make mistakes. That's what you want from your 8th or 9th man. Someone who doesn't need the ball, doesn't blow assignments, and can give you quality minutes without needing special treatment. Guys like that become essential when you're in the middle of a playoff run and someone goes down with a hamstring tweak or rolls an ankle in Game 4. You plug him in, and the ship keeps moving. There's also the element of timing here. A lot of people expect the Lakers to make a big move before the season starts, but the truth is the best version of this team might not even be built yet. The early part of the season is going to be about evaluating, figuring out what's working, what's not, and then pivoting in the trade market with more information. That's another reason why having a deep bench with versatile young players matters. You need those options when the picture becomes clearer. And if those young pieces came from a deal you already made with Brooklyn, even better. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the NBA rumor mill has been buzzing louder than ever this week, and the latest whispers out of Los Angeles suggest the Lakers may have pulled off one of the more surprising moves of the offseason. According to chatter making its way around league circles, young center Walker Kesler has reportedly agreed to a 3-year deal with the purple and gold. While nothing has been officially confirmed by the franchise or the players' camp, insiders are hinting that this could be a done deal, with only the finer details left to be ironed out. The addition of Kesler, if true, will be a fascinating turn for the Lakers. Known for his shot-blocking prowess, rebounding instincts, and ability to protect the rim, Kesler has quietly become one of the more intriguing defensive big men in the league. At just 23 years old, he already boasts the kind of presence in the paint that could give the Lakers an anchor behind Anthony Davis, potentially allowing the superstar to roam more freely on the defensive end. For a team that has struggled with depth in the frontcourt, this move would represent both a long-term investment and a short-term fix. The rumored deal, reportedly spanning 3 seasons, suggests that Los Angeles sees Kesler not as a short-term experiment, but as part of the team's future core. That raises questions about how the Lakers plan to structure their rotation, especially with Davis continuing to shoulder heavy minutes. Could this mean a more consistent double-big lineup? Or perhaps an insurance policy for the inevitable nights when Davis is sidelined. Around the league, executives are already speculating what this could mean for the Lakers' playoff hopes. With LeBron James edging deeper into the twilight of his career, every roster move feels like a calculated gamble to maximize the championship window. Kesler may not carry the headline-grabbing star power of a blockbuster signing, but his fit could be exactly what the Lakers have been missing. For now, it remains a murmur in the background of a noisy offseason. But if these rumors prove true, don't be surprised if Walker Kessler's arrival in Los Angeles becomes one of the more quietly impactful moves of the summer. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.